David Dick. No. That's why I had to change it to Sucio, you know what I mean? So a sous chef is an under chef. All right, it's like an underboss in the mob. He's basically your number two, the guy who has your back, your best man or woman, whatever it may be. So there it is, Mom. That's what a sous chef is. I think one of these days, I'll probably, if I have a repeat guest on, we'll just go through the entire brigade. Hopefully it's a French chef, so he can actually school me a little bit. Because while I know I've read and know what it is, I haven't worked in one, and I've never worked in France. Right, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know how a brigade works all the way. I've only seen it on paper and books. Never have I seen it in an actual kitchen where, every station has their own sous chef. Every station has their own commis kind of thing. All right. I only worked in restaurants where you did everything yourself, and it was only you on a station of, two to three people's worth of work was just on you. No better, no worse. Just that's my life. That's my trajectory. All right. Without further ado, here is Chef David Posey. Thank you very much, Chef, for doing the podcast. And I can't wait to get out there and actually eat at Elske and meet your lovely wife. So enjoy your week. Suciotalk. Go! All right, starting to record here. Let's see, episode 32. Episode 32 of Suciotalk. Hanging out here with Chef David Posey at your restaurant. How do you say the name?
Elske.
Elske. Okay,
Yep.
Gotcha. I was saying Elske for a little bit.
Yeah,
and some people were like, you're a moron. So.
No.
Thanks for the coffee.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Sitting here in a beautiful dining room in Chi-Town. I'm about to leave in a couple hours, so I'm grateful for you taking out the time to have me.
Thanks for having me out.
Yeah, for sure. So, Chef, here at Suciotalk, we'll go all the way back to when you were a niño. So, where'd you grow up? Where were you born?
I grew up in Arcadia, California, which
Okay.
is 20 minutes northeast of Los Angeles.
All right. And sort of, what did your parents do?
My mom has always kind of been in charity work, and she does like a lot of crafting and stuff. She's never really had a job. Then my father owned a company that manufactured medical restraints, and he just sold it about 4 years ago. So they're
Like
both
restraints,
retired.
like tied to the bed restraints?
Like tied to the bed. Like
Okay.
The big one is
straitjackets?
Straitjackets, yeah.
Oh.
So we did, in Silence of the Lambs, the straitjacket that Anthony Hopkins wore was a Posey straitjacket.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
My cousin had it, and he, for the same jacket that Anthony Hopkins wore, and he wore it to a Halloween party, so he cut holes in the sleeves, and it's like, dude, what are you doing, man? So he could hold his drinks at a Halloween party.
Oh my God, bro.
Yeah, I used to have a lot of fun with my little brother in that.
Yeah.
Tie him to beds and it was bad.
You're like playing Harry Houdini.
Yeah.
Like, let's see if you can get out of this.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What was the food scene in your house like when you were young? What were you eating?
We never really went out to eat. My mom is a great cook, so she cooks almost all the time, and our family growing up was big into eating dinner together. So we'd always have dinner, the four of us, my parents and my brother and myself, at 7 o'clock, and my mom would always make something, and she's Danish. That's kind of where the name from the restaurant comes from. So she would make Danish food every now and then, but it was a lot of just normal pasta and chicken and stuff.
Got you. And then as you're going through your trajectory in your younger life, what was your first interest, your first thing that you wanted to sort of get into and do? Was it food or was it something else?
No, I was pretty heavy into music.
That's a common thread.
Yeah.
It's a very common thread.
I believe it. I played drums growing up and was really into the marching band in high school and stuff. So ever since I was little, I was really, really into music and kind of saw myself going down that path, whether it be in a band or just involved in music somehow.
Got you. what was the extent of your music career? Let's say.
I was in a couple punk rock bands.
Okay.
We played shows. We never really did that much, but
Gotcha.
you know, we had a couple of CDs out. And
what year was this? And what was the band name?
Oh my god. It was like 1999 was the first one.
Great year.
Yeah. I was in a band called Hitman 51.
Hitman 51.
Which doesn't mean anything. And I was in another band with like a couple guys from high school that were like super punk rock, like Wood Glue in the Hair, Liberty Spikes.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
And I don't even think we had a name. We played a couple shows, but we didn't really have a name. And,
is that what they use as wood glue? Like Gorilla Glue?
Dude, yeah.
Wow.
Like wood glue, and it wouldn't come out of the hair. And I had my first like awakening moment, like, you know, I thought these guys were super punk rock, and I like was like, oh my god, this is so cool. I'm part of this scene. Like, I liked the music, but I didn't really dress like that.
Yeah.
And I called this guy, his name was Nick, and I was like, hey Nick, you want to come over and practice and like jam a little bit? And he's like, no man, I got to do my hair. And I was like, what do you mean you got to do your hair? And he's like, yeah, I got to put wood glue in my hair and like dry, have to let it dry, so I have to like lay down for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't want to play music because you have to put fucking glue in your hair for your mohawk? Like,
yeah.
Poser. I thought it was wild. I was like, oh man.
That is something that I started to realize when I got into the 3 Michelin star realm, how much hair gel gets used in a kitchen by males. I'm just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Just shave your head.
Yeah.
Keep
it simple.
Yeah. Now I say that and I have a fucking full head of hair. Using shea butter oils in it.
You got to keep it healthy though. If you're gonna have it,
exactly right. Yeah. I don't want to disturb anybody with a dry afro.
Yeah,
that's just weird. So, what kind of punk were you into? What kind of bands are you listening to back in the day?
It was definitely like Southern California scene. So a lot of like pop punk.
Got you.
A lot of Fat Records and Epitaph stuff and Vagrant Records and stuff. But then also, I like the older stuff like Dead Kennedys was kind of my jam. And
was that sort of what you were first introduced to as music when you were young?
It was the first stuff I really got into.
Okay.
Like,
who introduced you to it?
There was this guy I was on a Little League baseball team, and I just listened to stuff on the radio like Nirvana, I think.
Yeah.
My first CD was Amy Grant. I can't remember which one, but it was an Amy Grant record. And then so I kind of delved into a little bit of like the harder, like Metallica and Nirvana and stuff.
Yeah.
And then this kid named David, who, he told me about the Dead Kennedys, and then so I went to like a Sam Goody or whatever, and then got a Dead Kennedys CD, and the cashier behind the thing ringing me out was like, yo, you got to check this out, and he goes over and gets a Fat Records compilation. It was Survival of the Fattest.
Yeah.
And it had like Strung Out and High Standard and Lagwagon and NoFX and stuff, and that introduced me to like, just out of chance, like introduced me to this music that I fell in love with.
Yeah.
And I was also like super into skateboarding too. So
okay. Yeah, that helps.
Pop punk and skateboarding are pretty hand in hand.
Hell yeah. What was it? So skateboarding, when did you get into that?
I was forever.
So your parents bought you your first skateboard.
Yeah. And my uncle had a I don't know if he like invented it, but he owned a company called Motor Built Skateboards, and it was like skateboards. It was like the one tail, the fat skateboards, and he put a lawnmower engine on it.
Of course he did.
And so, so you could ride around. So like
people were breaking their legs and their arms at the same time.
Yeah. So I had one of those when I was a little kid, and he just zoomed down the street.
Yeah.
And then I got into like the double nose skateboards where you do all the tricks and that stuff.
How was that transition between skateboards? Was there a lot of like pushback on that new skateboard?
I think so. It's just like evolution. Like, there's always something new is gonna happen. It's gonna go from the wide single tail, like that you just ride in pools and bowls and stuff, and then you go to like more flat ground, like double nose or double tailed skateboards, and people think it's stupid or whatever, but I liked it. So.
They're like, this is not the way of the future.
Yeah. And then there's all like getting into it too. When I first started, like the super small wheels that were like barely bigger than the bearings were really in.
Ah, okay.
So I would ride around in those, and you hit a pebble, like microscopic piece of rock, and you're just like flying up the front, like you have no chance. And, and then big wheels got like really into. It's just,
so it's taking all kinds of forms, huh?
Yeah.
That's fun. When did you first get into sort of food? What was it?
My mom, I used to be chubby. I still am a little chubby, but my mom, you're not supposed to agree with that, dude.
That's all in the right places, baby.
Yeah,
your cheeks are perfect.
Okay, I like that. My mom would show me how to make snacks for myself after school, so I could just go home and make myself like mac and cheese or whatever. And I kind of like had a knack for it, and I would do it really quickly and be pretty clean. And then so my mom would show me a couple like dishes that I could cook for the family, and I just picked it up and just really enjoyed it.
Okay, so you became sort of like the cook in your household.
Yeah.
Got you. How old were you when this happened?
I think it was like 12 or 13.
12 or 13. Did you carry that on through high school and everything like that? Okay.
Yeah.
And at this point, are you looking at cooking shows? Do you know, like, sort of, you know, that you want to be a chef?
Yeah, I watched, oh man, what was I really liked Yan Ken Cook and Emeril Lagasse and Mario Batali and the Two Fat Ladies.
I was just about to say that,
I love the Two Fat Ladies.
Yeah.
But I would always watch that. Like, I had a little TV in my room, so I'd just be in my room with that on while I was doing or not doing my homework.
Yeah.
So I've always been into it since I was young.
Got you. And then what was your first job?
My first job was when I was in high school. It was at a restaurant called Haley in Pasadena.
Okay.
And I just started out. I started as like a salad guy, and I would help the dishwasher. So I'd work garde-manger, help the dishwasher, and then there were 3 people that worked that station, and slowly, one by one, they got fired.
Okay.
So they were like,
That's
guys.
How it goes.
Yeah, they were guys that went to culinary school, and I was like the free labor from high school, but I could do their job, and I could do it as good, if not better than them.
Okay.
And so eventually I was running the garde-manger station, so I'd get home from school, my mom would drive me to Haley, and then I'd work a shift, and she'd pick me up at like 11:30 at night.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And this station that you worked, what sort of dishes were you doing?
There was, it was salads. I think I did 3 salads, and then like specials. Like the one salad that everybody loved and ordered was this it was arugula with a vanilla vinaigrette and candied walnuts and poached pear. And I think blue cheese was on there.
Classic.
Yeah, classic.
Oh, delicious.
Yeah, that was like 2000 or
That's
2001. That's
good finger food on the station.
Yep. Yeah.
Some almonds, some cheese.
Yep.
Just spend all day like that.
Yeah. Oh,
that was the first time, when I worked at a restaurant for the first time, I was like, this is the best job. It's like all of this food, like I can put this with this and eat it.
Yeah.
And no one says anything.
we had like the big steam well of different flavored mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
There was the classic just OG mashed potatoes, but then there was like wasabi mashed potatoes was a big thing then. And then, they were weird.
Okay.
I think they did it with seared tuna that they stuffed with a scallop mousse, and then wasabi mashed potatoes and some like.
It's a little avant-garde over there.
It was kind of creative. It was creative.
That's cool. Were you learning these techniques, or were you sort of just like stay on fucking salads and don't?
No. They moved me around. I would, after the first push of the night was done and everybody got their appetizers, then I'd kind of like swing over and help cook meat and
very cool. Okay, so
and
early
pick up veg and stuff. So gotcha. I've always been doing it.
Okay,
yeah.
And then how long did you stay there?
I think I worked there for it was like 2.5 years.
Okay, how'd you know it was time to leave?
When I went to culinary school.
Okay, got you. What culinary school did you go to?
CIA.
CIA. Okay,
Yep.
Hyde Park.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
What made you choose there over any other culinary school?
It was solely my dad pushing me to go there. I wanted to stay in California, kind of be close to the parents, and I guess
was the Napa campus not even a thing yet?
It wasn't a thing. Yeah, so it was just New York, and my dad pushed me to go there because he heard it was the best, and I really didn't want to. So his way of getting me to go out there was we'd tour the school, and then we'd drive down to New York City, and I could choose any restaurant that I wanted to go eat at. And so I asked all I didn't know anything in New York.
Yeah.
Newspapers were out then, and that's the only way you could read about food, but it was like the New York Times section or the LA Times food section. So I asked this one girl or woman, she was the pastry chef, and I was like, where should my dad take me? And she said, there's this new restaurant that just opened up called Alain Ducasse.
Oh,
and I was
shit.
Like, okay, yeah, cool. And I checked it out, and like you couldn't go on the internet and look it up. So I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I want to go to Alain Ducasse at the Essex house.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, and he made a reservation. I think like the only time they had was 5 o'clock.